One email, one sentence, and $4.7 billion was gone overnight. But what Celsius customers didn't know is the man telling them to hold had already pulled his own money out. Over 300,000 people, teachers, nurses, construction workers, watched their life savings disappear overnight. But here's what makes this story different from every other crypto collapse. Mashinsky didn't just fail, he lied. 3 specific lies. And while his customers were locked out of their accounts, unable to access a single dollar, he was cashing out millions. This is the story of how a former tech entrepreneur convinced the world he built a revolutionary financial system, when he actually built a house of cards. And it all started with one simple lie. Alex Mashinsky launched the Celsius network in 2017 with a bold promise. Earn up to 18% interest on your crypto, risk-free. No banks, no middlemen, just a community helping each other get rich. By 2021, Celsius managed over $25 billion in assets, making it one of the largest crypto lenders in the world. Mashinsky became a celebrity, appearing on podcasts, tweeting financial advice, and positioning himself as crypto's Robin Hood, taking from Wall Street banks and giving it to everyday people. But beneath the surface, Celsius was running 3 massive deceptions that would eventually unravel everything. Let's break down exactly how he did it. Lie number 1. We're a community, not a bank. Alex Mashinsky loved to repeat one phrase. Celsius is not a bank, we're a community. In dozens of YouTube videos, podcasts, and Twitter threads, he hammered this message home. Banks are evil. Banks steal your money through fees. Banks can't be trusted. But Celsius was different. It was peer-to-peer. It was decentralized. It was revolutionary. Here's the problem. Celsius operated exactly like a bank. Actually, worse than a bank. When you deposited crypto into Celsius, you weren't just storing it there. You were giving up ownership. Buried in the terms of service that almost nobody read was a clause that said the moment you deposited funds, they became property of Celsius. Not held in custody for you, not safeguarded in your name, owned by Celsius. They could do whatever they wanted with it. And they did. Celsius took customer deposits and loaned them out to institutional traders, DeFi protocols, and risky investment strategies, just like a bank. Except banks are heavily regulated. They're required to keep reserves. They're insured by the FDIC. They're audited. Celsius had none of these protections. When customers asked about safety, Mashinsky gave vague reassurances. We have a robust risk management system, he'd say. We only work with trusted counterparties. But he refused to provide details. No audits, no transparency, no proof. In May 2022, just months before the collapse, a user on Twitter directly asked Mashinsky, "Is Celsius a bank?" His response, "No, we're a community of people helping each other." But here's what he didn't tell you. Celsius was lending customer funds to a company called 3 Arrows Capital, a hedge fund that was making increasingly desperate leveraged bets. When 3 Arrows collapsed in June 2022, they took hundreds of millions of Celsius customer dollars with them. Mashinsky called it a community. Regulators called it an unregistered securities offering. Customers called it their life savings. And it was gone. Lie number 2. Your crypto is safe and earning yield. The entire Celsius pitch rested on one impossible promise. Deposit your crypto, earn up to 18% annual yield, and your funds are completely safe. 18%. Think about that for a second. In 2021, the average savings account paid 0.06% interest. High yield savings account offered maybe 1%, but Celsius was offering 18%. Where was this money coming from? Mashinsky had an answer ready. We lend your crypto to institutions who pay us interest, and we pass most of it back to you. The banks keep 80% of the interest they earn. We only keep 20%. It sounded logical, revolutionary even, except it was almost entirely fiction. Celsius wasn't just making safe, collateralized loans, they were gambling. Court documents revealed that Celsius invested customer funds in DeFi protocols, decentralized finance platforms that promise high returns but carry massive risk. They staked assets in unproven protocols. They made leveraged bets on token prices. They invested in altcoins that could swing 50% in one day. Even worse, Celsius was using new customer deposits to pay yields to existing customers. If you studied financial fraud, you know what that's called. A Ponzi scheme. By early 2022, cracks were showing. the crypto market was crashing. Bitcoin fell from $69,000 to under $20,000. The DeFi protocols Celsius invested in started imploding. Luna and UST, a stablecoin Celsius had significant exposure to, collapsed completely, wiping out $40 billion in value in a matter of days. Celsius was bleeding money, but Mashinsky kept tweeting. On May 16, 2022, he posted, "Celsius has the reserves and is a going concern. On June 7th, we have more than enough to meet any obligations." 5 days later, Celsius froze all customer withdrawals. Over 300,000 people were locked out of their accounts. Teachers couldn't pay rent. Small business owners couldn't make payroll. Retirees watched their nest eggs vanish. One user posted on Reddit, "I have $60,000 in Celsius. That's 8 years of savings. I need it for my daughter's medical bills. What do I do?" There was nothing they could do. The money was gone, and Alex Mashinsky knew it was coming. Lie number 3. I'm not selling. Throughout 2021 and early 2022, as the crypto market became increasingly unstable, Alex Mashinsky had a message for Celsius customers. Hodl. Hold on for dear life. Don't panic. Don't sell. We're in this together. On Twitter, he posted screenshots of his own Celsius account, showing he had millions of dollars deposited. "I'm hodling," he'd write. "Diamond hands." He encouraged his followers to do the same. Selling was for cowards. Real believers held through the dips. Behind the scenes, Mashinsky was doing the exact opposite. According to court filings and bankruptcy documents, between May 2021 and May 2022, Alex Mashinsky withdrew approximately $10 million worth of crypto from Celsius. Not after the collapse, before it. While he was publicly telling customers their funds were safe and encouraging them to deposit more, he was quietly pulling his own money out. Let that sink in. The CEO of the company, the guy with access to all the internal data, the one person who knew exactly how precarious things were, was cashing out. Meanwhile, he was telling his customers to buy more, deposit more, trust the system. Even his own wife withdrew assets. In October 2021, court documents show that Mashinsky's wife withdrew large sums from her Celsius account, months before the freeze. When customers started asking questions in early 2022, Mashinsky's team went into damage control mode. They posted carefully staged videos of Alex at the Celsius office, talking about how strong the company was. They highlighted new partnerships and features. They doubled down on the community messaging. On June 8, 2022, less than a week before freezing withdrawals, Mashinsky appeared on a Twitter Spaces call. A user asked directly, "Alex, do you have your own money in Celsius right now?" His answer, "Of course I do. I'm all in on Celsius. I believe in what we're building." It was a lie. Most of his money was already out. 4 days later, Celsius stopped all withdrawals. By July, the company filed for bankruptcy. By July 2023, federal prosecutors arrested Mashinsky on fraud charges. The indictment stated he misled customers about the company's financial health and withdrew his own assets while encouraging others to deposit. Today, Alex Mashinsky faces multiple felony charges, including wire fraud, conspiracy, and securities fraud. If convicted, he could spend decades in prison. Celsius customers are still fighting in bankruptcy court to recover pennies on the dollar. The damage? $4.7 billion in customer assets frozen. Over 300,000 people impacted. Lives ruined. Retirements destroyed. Families torn apart. But here's what makes the story important. Celsius wasn't some elaborate, sophisticated scheme. The warning signs were everywhere. The 18% yields that defied economic logic. The refusal to provide audits or transparency. The terms of service that stripped customers of ownership. The CEO cashing out while telling others to buy in. Every major fraud in history follows the same pattern. Too good to be true promises, charismatic leaders, and victims who wanted to believe. Celsius was just the latest chapter. 3 lies, $4.7 billion, and hundreds of thousands of people who learned the hardest lesson in finance. If someone promises you an extraordinary return with no risk, run. Because in the end, there's no such thing as free money. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.